Uh, so there's going to be people that's going to blow it and it's going to go right back into the system. And then there's going to be people that do something with it and and possibly turn they family life around for the better.
Robbery on the spike. People,
and that's something that's definitely going to happen as well. But on the idea of reparations, I don't think anybody who is alive today has done or been through anything comparable to what the slaves have been through, and the couple generations after, what they had to do, to get some semblance of equal rights. So that being said, the people who deserve those reparations are all dead. Now, if they were still alive, that would be I think I would feel differently. Those people would be the ones that deserve those reparations. Now, like I said, we ain't did nothing to deserve some reparations. I ain't never got whipped, and forced to pick cotton and all of that stuff. So why should I reap benefits off of the back of somebody else as far as, monetarily?
But people in the comments watching this video right now, they're gonna be like, "No," they're gonna be saying,
I understand that there are things that have trickled down to us. Like I had came across this epigenetics thing, and I in looking into that, I have found that trauma can be passed down genetically. From the few hours of research that I've done, trauma can be passed down genetically. So I understand that, our ancestors going through what they went through has had, a trickle effect on the generations that are alive now. However, there is a level of accountability that we have to start taking and changing those things. And I don't think reparations is going to be the magic wand that makes everybody start, changing their mindset and start trying to be, better people. The ones who are not already that, I should say. So I don't think there's any. I'm not turning down no check.
I'm not turning no check. But it just I do need to say, I do a little bit of history research. For those some of you probably in the comment section are probably gonna say something. Some of the people that were black and owned slave, they did own the slave in order to protect them, so they won't have to go through that scrutiny. But again, that's how business was done back then. I don't think we'll ever see a movie that shows that will show blacks owning black slaves, because how society is and how they want to have us see a certain image of ourselves. Like all these movies that you see of slavery is always going to be one way: white owning black slave. Like we're never going to see any history about the Saharan slave trade, where you see the Arabs when they owned the slave and they had them walk across the Saharan desert. That's a whole another
thing. How
thing.
about the Barbary pirates?
Yeah, like
we actually had white slaves.
Yeah,
they were black people.
We're never going to see that. So
slavery wasn't invented by.
And it wasn't. So hey, let me toss this in here right quick. If you want to talk about reparations that are really pissing a lot of people off, how about you go back to Africa and have them pay reparations? Because I'm tired of people talking like white people got on the boat first time over there in Africa, was able to traverse the jungle, run through it, and capture all these black people and get them back to the boats and bring them over. That is not what happened. We were sold by other Africans because that's what the game was back then. So
that's
the fact
was already happening.
Right, it was already happening.
It's still something going on right now in Africa.
Yeah,
in some parts deep in the tribal area in which society is not allowed to visit. It's still something going on right now. I'm not saying I know that for a fact, but based on some of the information out there, it's still going on. Yeah.
But if you want to talk about the cause of it and who owe us what, it's like, okay, so basically United States, like you said, it was already happening. So it wasn't like black people were the first slaves. That's just impossible because, slavery has been going on since, again, mankind existed. So the fact of being like, okay, these people owe us money because they used our labor that they paid for because we were sold off by our own kind. And somehow, like, okay, after all these years, it's like y'all owe us because y'all tortured us. Everybody in the history of this planet, just as a heads up, has been tortured. I don't care who you are. Every nationality, every ethnic group has been tortured. They've been slaved. They've been there. Nobody has ever made it out on this planet even with white people. They captured and tortured each other. So that whole thing is about getting paid reparations, like you said, for something that we didn't go through. None of us have witnessed it, regardless of the trauma that we suffered after that. Again, that you said is like, hey, that should have been self-correcting. That should have been a group of people getting together and like, okay, we've been had, then let's get back on the boat and go back to Africa. That's what what's that? Marcus Garvey. He was trying. It's like, so why didn't we do that? It's like
Libya. Was that I think it was Libya.
I think so. But you had an exit plan that didn't nobody follow up on. So my confusion to this and always have been, if as a people want to complain so much about the system or the environment that you in, it's like, why don't you get up and leave? You had an opportunity after slavery was over to get up and leave, but somehow, we built this. No, you didn't technically build shit. You put some labor into it, but in terms of the ideas, the schematics, the mathematics, and all that other stuff that comes with building things, you had nothing to do with it. You were the free labor. So don't get it twisted. You're not owed anything, especially this generation. It's not owed anything for what your ancestors got put through. And again, it's like the reason that you were put through it was because you were sold by your own kind. Now, that may sound harsh, but it's the truth, and people can argue it until they actually go do and have a history lesson, but it is what it is. Do black people deserve reparations? No. They deserve to get up off their butt and survive like everybody else who had been through slavery survived. It's like, quit complaining about stuff. And again, it's like, what really irks me is like, dude, why are you still here? If it's so bad, if it's so, people owe you so much and you don't, again, with the skin in the game comment, it's like you're not owed anything. Go to where it's better. I would never go to a restaurant and the waiter comes over and the first thing you do is spit in my water and then ask me, what do I want? Like, I'm getting up out of there. But somehow people, why you spitting my water? I deserve to be here. No, you don't. You don't deserve to be in there.
Yeah, you may especially if they're telling you and they're right in your face. Up,
yeah,
time for me to go.
Go leave.
Because you get some people that are of the mafia tribe, and then they'll come over there and politely tell you, "Hey, we need you to leave up out of here."
Yeah, escort you up out,
and they'll escort you up out of there.
But I'm sorry, but it's just that mentality of that somehow you deserve something. And one more thing, real quick, is that with black people and this whole black people are gonna come together and somehow be a part. That those days are done. That's a dream to sit there and be like, somehow we're gonna make it back to the 60s where black people were united and had some type of goal or motion to achieve. It's like those days are gone. It's like that. So that whole process of like we'll overcome. I was looking at the numbers recently, and back in the 60s, black people were the second. We were number 2 in terms of minority popularity. And white people, then blacks, and then other. And now we are down to number 5. Mm-hmm. So that means within 60 years, like, other people come to this country and they multiplied and build to the point now where we're number 5, and we couldn't get anything done when we were number 2. So an example is this Zoran Mandani in New York. Here he is. He's a Muslim. So if he comes to New York and he's a Muslim and now he's bringing all of his Muslim buddies because that's who backed him in this election, where do you think that does for black people in terms of their votings or them getting anything out of the system now? Because now everybody's going to go to him because especially the Muslim community, because there's some hustlers too. So they're going to be like, man, this is a free ride. Well, it ain't a free ride in New York, but it's some money up in New York we can go get now. And again, that pushes the black population down even further, because now they're, whatever it is that they're crying about, it's not going to be listened to, especially by a mayor that is quoting, Quran scriptures and stuff. That doesn't put you in the lineup.
It doesn't.
So it's like, so now that we are constantly being booted down the list, it's like, even if they did give reparations, like you said, it'll go right back, into the economy the next day, because it doesn't change the mindset. The money is not going to change the mindset of how people operate.
Yeah, because even now, like, I still hear people say the government owes reparations, but the government never owned slaves. They employed slaves through slave labor, through the slave master. And some of y'all probably gonna say, oh, well, George Washington had slaves. Like, George Washington inherited his slave from his father prior to him becoming president. Somebody gonna say that in the comments, but the government never owned slaves. Like, that's how business was done. But I'm not trying to make it's light of slavery, but then
you can't apply today's morality to history, because it's like, that's the way of the world. That's the way the world was. Like, it's like, can you go back to you can do that with anything. It's like, you can go back to Egypt and be like, hey, y'all enslaved all these people to and force them to build these pyramids, and like, that's contested whether or not it was slave labor or skilled labor. But regardless, it's like, you can go to any era throughout history and apply today's morality to it and say that it was wrong. But that's the way that the world worked at that time and period.
Right.
But somebody gonna say, well, it's that control mechanism, or
but it's like, we've evolved past those times, and majority of us have evolved past those times, and it's just like, I'm like, how long do we have to continue to look backwards to
well, it's not. I don't think it's us. I think it's controlling the narrative, what they only want us to think about. I'm not saying reparation never going to happen. I think someday it's going to happen, but
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
You want to sing a spiritual, Negro spiritual?
No, we ain't.
One day, give them reparations.
Yeah, it's not.